Hi, my name is Josh Udy. I'm the Elementary Mathematics Curriculum Manager here in Houston Independent School District. Today, in this video, I'll be going over how to score students' open-ended responses to problem-solving questions in mathematics using a rubric on a 4-point scale. Before I do so, it's important for me to reference the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. Two researchers, Stutzman and Race, wrote an article in the Mathematics Teacher called EMRF, the Everyday Grading Rubric, and many of the components from that article have been infused into the Mathematics Problem-Solving Journal Guide that many students in HISD use. The purpose of using a rubric to score open-ended items in mathematics is twofold. First, it provides the teacher an opportunity to narrow their focus and give students specific and timely feedback on the quality of their work. Second, it allows students to know whether or not their work has met the expectations outlined by the task. After students have completed an open-ended task, there are two questions that teachers ask. The first is, does this work demonstrate understanding of the concept? And does the work meet the expectations of the task? These are the first two questions that teachers must ask themselves. If the answer to both of these questions is yes, you know that your student will receive a score of a 4 or a 3. If the answer to either one of these questions is no, you know that your student is going to get a score of a 2, a 1, or a 0. Let's take an example of a student scoring a 4. The teacher will analyze the student's work. They'll ask themselves, does the work demonstrate understanding of the concept? Yes. Then they'll ask, does the work meet expectations of the task? Yes. Now that they know the work falls in the category of a 3 or a 4, they're going to ask an additional question. Is the student work complete and well communicated? If the answer to this is yes, then the student scores a 4. When a student scores a 4, it means that they met or exceeded the expectation, that their work is well communicated, and that they have a solid understanding of the concept. Now let's back up. If students' work is being reviewed and they answered yes, they have a demonstration of understanding of the concept, and yes, their work meets the expectation of the task, we know it's a 3 or a 4. We come to the follow-up question, is the student's work complete and well communicated? If the answer to this is no, the student will score a 3. A 3 indicates that the student does not need reteaching. However, something might be slightly incomplete or the product isn't well communicated, meaning someone simply looking at the work and trying to determine what the student did may struggle a little bit. A score of a 3 indicates the student has an understanding of the concept and got the correct solution, but the student needs a little bit of work in their communication or clarification of something very minor. Typically, this just requires the teacher to provide 1 or 2 words, feedback to the student, telling them what they need to do to improve their work for next time. Now let's go and talk about students that will score a 2, a 1, or a 0 on an open-ended question using our scoring rubric. Go back to the original 2 questions. Does the work demonstrate understanding of the concept? And does the work meet the expectations of the task? If the answer to either of those questions is no, then we know the student is either going to score a 2, a 1, or a 0. After asking those 2 questions and getting an answer of a no, there's a follow-up question that the teacher should ask. Is there at least some partial understanding of the concept? If the answer to this is yes, the student will score a 2. If the answer to that is no, the student will score a 1. A score of a 0 is really only reserved for students that don't demonstrate any understanding or show any work at all. Let's talk a little bit more about what a score of a 2 means. A score of a 2 means that the student most likely did not get the correct answer. I say most likely because there may be instances where the correct solution is derived, but in analyzing the work, the teacher has no idea how the solution was derived, meaning the teacher might think this student could have just copied the answer from someone else. Nothing on the paper justifies the solution. More likely, though, a score of a 2 indicates that this teacher realizes the student has a specific misconception. Partial work is shown perhaps correctly, but a component of the work may be incorrect. A score of a 2 tells the teacher reteaching is necessary, and typically the teacher can narrow in exactly what needs to be retaught after analyzing the student's work. Let's talk about a score of a 1. A score of a 1, this student's work shows clear signs of misunderstanding, and the teacher realizes, I'm going to need to restart from the beginning and reteach the concept, perhaps using a different mode or method. A score of a 1 means the student has attempted to do the work, but it is very clear that his or her work does not show understanding of the concept. As a reminder, a score of a 0 means that there was really no attempt to solve the problem. Before wrapping up today, there's a couple of key points that I want to highlight. First, students scoring a 2 should be allowed the chance to revise their work and resubmit it to the teacher. We want to provide students with opportunities to learn, and typically a student's score of a 2 means they have a slight misconception that can be remediated in small group or direct one-on-one instruction, and that student should have the opportunity again to revise their work. A score of a 1 means a complete reteaching, and the student most likely needs to redo the whole entire problem from scratch. A final point to remember is that when utilizing a rubric with students, they should understand and know what each of the components means. This means that the teacher may decide to do an activity where different work samples are presented to the students, some 4s, some 3s, some 2s, and some 1s. And the students, analyzing using the rubric, get to argue and defend and decide which score each of the different work samples would receive. In this way, students themselves are informed of what the expectation is when they engage in solving an open-ended problem in mathematics. We hope that this video provides you help as you continue to use a scoring rubric with our mathematics problem-solving questions.